Welcome to the Nothing But BK Nothing But Nets podcast. I'm joined right now with John, everything BK Nets John. Dylan should be joining us shortly. He's got some big boy business to attend to, and when he's done with that, he should be joining us so that we can scream at Mark about the Brooklyn Nets and Sean Marks. But the Nets battled hard yesterday, dropped an overtime game to the Indiana Pacers, who weren't playing Halliburton. The Nets weren't playing Cam. D'Lo was their lone guy, and again, D'Lo almost won him the game again. That's 2 games in a row. He almost won them, but didn't. So I guess all's well that ends well. John, let me first get your take on this. Why is D'Lo the guy they're playing? They're sitting Cam Johnson. Cam Thomas is done for the season. We could speculate on the severity of that injury. Why is D'Lo the one still playing? Is he playing for a contract? You think they're trying to see what he is? Why is D'Lo the one, like the one veteran that's still playing?
Again, Gary, always weird to talk about basketball. Again, it's the one question we've still been asking since we kept him and not bought him out. Why is D'Lo on this team? Is he coming back in a year on a 1-year deal? Like, why are we playing a guy where we kind of know where his value's at? And we should probably let the younger guys like a Killian Hayes or Dariq Whitehead get run. But right now they're rolling with D'Lo because I guess Jordy values his veteran leadership skills and he wants him to run point. My problem this year with the Nets is it feels like they needed veteran point guards to carry this team. And it's like, if you're trying to protect your pick, does it really matter if the veteran point guard plays as much minutes as possible? So you just let the young guys get his burn. So I just think Jordy right now has a lot of say in what's going on, and he wants D'Lo to run point because he trusts him. And I guess Killian Hayes, as good as he did in those first 2 games, they don't trust him right now as far as having that role. So it's kind of like you just got to roll with it. But at the same time, if he wins you a game and some of our lottery odds don't go against us, was it really worth it to play D'Lo all these minutes? We'll find out on May 12th. But I guess right now with the Nets, they just don't have other options. So they're rolling with the veteran leadership, which I guess Jordy trusts right now.
And this has been my problem with having D'Angelo Russell on the team. What's the goal here? Are you trying to win the game, or are you trying to give the because like why is he in the game though? Like, are you trying to win? Is he in there to try to win you the game, or is the goal to try to get the young kids as much burn as possible? Like, what's the goal here, John?
Yeah, it's funny because some people are now coming with a new storyline. This whole season has been an ethical tank. We only got obliterated once by the Clippers. So as long as we're ultra competitive, maybe we're sending a message subliminally to the NBA saying, hey, look at all these other teams. They're purposely tanking. They're getting cremated every night. But Jordy's got these guys fighting. Well, you got these guys fighting because the vets have played a lot of minutes this year. Say the vets weren't playing a lot of minutes and the minutes were managed, the results would probably be a lot worse. So maybe in this organization's mindset is if we could sell to the NBA that we weren't actually tanking that much, maybe that'll work in our favor. But still, at the end of the day, we don't know if the NBA looks at things like that. This could all be random or this could be rigged. But I think for us right now, playing the vets so much, instead of letting the young guys get more run, it's kind of like, what are we doing here? Like you're saying, are we trying to compete? Are we trying to tank? It feels like this team has kind of been stuck in the middle a lot this year. But the only saving grace for the Nets right now is we're no longer near the play-in bracket or anything like that. That's our only saving grace. So I guess right now you live with results if we win because of the vets or we win because of the young guys. Right now, the vets are playing bigger roles than they probably should, and you kind of just have to live with results. But like you said, Gary, does it make a lot of sense this season? Probably not.
I want to address this comment, and then we'll actually, this is a good transition. The brawling Brooklyn Nets. At least your shitty team has some fight. We all agree on one thing: Pistons over Knicks in round 1. I want to address to shut up the Knicks fans. That would be nice. It would be nice. I don't even hate the Knicks, but watching them lose to the Pistons would be nice. They have some fight in them. Your thoughts on the Watford scrap, we'll call it. What led to that? It seemed to be a little bit out of nowhere. Maybe they were going back and forth all night. I don't know. But your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets showing some fight, literally, and just that incident as a whole.
Oh, yeah, I got the boxing glove. Let's go. No, but listen, I got to say this. I don't think I've ever been more proud of Wofford in my life. He knew what the goal was. He's like, I got to start something. You know, we're getting close to winning this game. Got to take that Bucks pick. I got to cause a fight and us for to lose. Yo, Wofford, you are now on our team for life, brother. Nah, listen, I think, the emotions were high. It was a very physical game for most of the game. The Nets weren't getting a lot of calls, and the Pacers were making a lot of free throws. So maybe Wofford was very amped up because he was kind of like that enforcer off the bench. But he did kind of start it. He went after Neesmith almost like a clothesline, and then Miles Turner got involved. I thought there were punches thrown, but when you look at the replay, it's like it's a shove here, a shove there. But then Jordy Fernandez got into it too. I think he tried to break it up, and he almost slipped or something like that. So the coaches were getting involved, the players. I just feel like the emotions were very high. But this is kind of going back to what you said, Gary. The Nets have not been afraid to be physical this year. I mean, some people look at it as like a bootleg version of the bad boy Detroit Pistons. Okay, but I think what this team has this year is pride.
A real hoopty version.
Yeah, a real bootleg.
I think real hoopty version.
Yeah, and you notice I said the word bootleg, because I think it's like bootleg 2019 version of D-Lo and the Misfits. But yeah, this team has a lot of pride because Jordy cares about that. He doesn't matter. He doesn't care who the opponent is, whether they're top of the league, worst of the league, or middle of the league. He wants his team to have effort on a night-to-night basis. So you look at what has been consistent this year. The fight has been very consistent, and a lot of these guys are fighting for future contracts. So of course they're going to go out there and show moxie and get in these players' faces. Does it always work with wins? Probably not, but it shows that there is a culture being built somewhat. So yeah, I mean, you take week again. I think that was the game changer of the game. If Wofford didn't get ejected, the Nets probably could have maybe won that game, but that would have hurt our Bucks odds there. So I'm fine with the result. But listen, Wofford cares about his future and he wants a contract. We have a contract with us. I don't know, but he definitely showed some moxie last night, and unfortunately just backfired with the Nets there, though, in the end.
Did you see anything that could have caused that? Like, here's a couple of concerns. I wanted you mean shoving gloves. As a grown man, I don't understand shoving. If someone approaches me, I'm going to punch them in the face. That's it. I'm not going to shove people. I never really understand shoving matches, right? Like, how is it thought out? Like, look, if some guy is coming after me, I'm not going to shove him. I'm going to punch him in the face. Is that just me? Like, where does shoving come from? I don't really understand shoving as a principle. Like, I'm not going to shove you. I promise you. I'm going to punch. If you come after me, I'm going to punch you in the face to stop you from coming after me. Where did shoving come from? I don't really understand shoving.
It's crazy because you look at basketball back then, when guys just get in the fights, they try to punch each other. But I guess now in this new NBA era where money is a lot more, I guess these guys really don't want to get the fines, so they do like the shoves or try to incite.
It's thought out, right? You're thinking it through. Okay, when I've gotten a lot of fights in my life, it's usually just reactionary. Someone crosses a line, someone gets in my physical space, someone puts a hand on me, I swing. Shoving or spitting, things like that, I never really understood. Like, not John, anyone. If you get in my face and you cross that line, I'm not going to start shoving you. I'm just going to punch you. Is that me? Or like, I just don't understand shoving.
Gary, you want to take this outside? We can stop right now. Guys, I got to tell you, Gary, he wants to go. What a big guy.
I'm going to punch you in the face. I'm going to end it. Yeah.
But listen, so Wofford did have one technicals. That's why he got ejected. But still, if you're going to eject Wofford for the shove punches, why was Turner still in the game? He did like one of these to him. Like, why does Turner not like? I know he got a technical, but listen, he was throwing swats, punches, so eject him too. But keep it fair. But listen, at the end of the day, the NBA has weird ways of assessing penalties, fines, with taking, not taking, and shoving punches. So it's just the way the NBA works. But back then, these guys would settle on the court, beef with each other. You wouldn't have coaches running on the field, on the court, and stuff like that. But now you do, because these coaches don't want that to get to that level. But like you said, Gary, it's just a different generation era type stuff that's going on with the shoves versus the punches.
I remember when back in the 80s, Bill Laimbeer kind of took Larry Bird's legs out, like dirty play. And it was the 80s, so you could do that. And then the next time down the court, Robert Parrish gets fouled. He goes to the line, and he punches Bill Laimbeer on the face on a box out, right? Like, Laimbeer comes to box out after the missed free throw, and Robert Parrish punches him in the face. No one got kicked out of the game. They stopped it. They called the technical. They cleaned it up, but they were allowed to continue to play. Those were the good old days. But like, so my point being is, why was Turner allowed to stay in the game? And what were your thoughts on that? Who started? I didn't really see what started it. And I watched the replay. I couldn't really tell from the replay what started it. But it's a fight. A, B, the Pacers players got off the bench. So by the rule, and I'm not trying to be a dick about things, but they should all be suspended, because the rule is if you get off the bench, you're suspended. Correct? That's the rule.
Right. And
They
it
all
is
got
being
upset,
reviewed right now.
all of them. So they all got to be suspended. So not only are they not going to get suspended, Turner was allowed to stay in the game. I don't understand any of this. Maybe you can help me understand.
Yeah, from what I saw in the replay, Wofford did start it because there was nobody was bumping up against each other after the play was made in the hoop, right? But then Woff, for some reason, goes across Naismith and just tries to like semi-clothesline. It wasn't like a clothesline, but he had like his arm near his throat, and that's what said turn off. Turner wasn't even a part of it, so Wofford, I think, might have a shot against bench because he kind of started out of nowhere, but Turner got involved when it wasn't his fight, and then he started shoving Wofford back and forth. So by that proxy, Turner got himself involved, so probably he should get some type of penalization because it wasn't even his fight to begin with.
They
So,
go back
but
to the replay now and they review it. I don't understand. Like, well, I'm going to get into it, but go ahead, cook for a little bit on this. I have questions. I have more questions on this than anything. Go ahead.
listen, at the end of the day, it looked less worse than I thought it was. When I saw everybody getting involved, I was, oh, somebody threw a punch, but I see arms filmed, and I'm like, oh, it's a woo! Like it's like nothing. There were no bruises on these guys. Jordan Fernandez, I think, almost went into the audience because he just like ran there, like ran into the middle. I think it shows like a clip of him like falling into the audience, like he ran super quick. But everybody was getting involved. I think Jordan might get a fine just because it looked like he got a little physically involved in trying to stop it. But a lot of people were involved. So like whoever gets fined or gets suspended, hopefully it's nothing too crazy. But still, if you're going to penalize Wofford for starting it, Turner did get involved in a fight that wasn't even his to begin with. So he should probably get some type of fine or suspension just to keep it fair. But the NBA is weird with suspensions and fines nowadays.
Alex and Garrick, you look at my draft question, just eyeing who could help my Hawk. Hang on, let me find it. Did you see a draft? Let me try to find this draft question. Oh, draft question, boys. All right, John.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Murray Boyles, Liam McNeely, and Thomas Sorber rank the top three. I'm eyeing these guys for my Hawks with the picks that I'm hopefully getting from Sacramento. So the Hawks are getting Sacramento's pick, which will probably could be a late lottery pick or 15, 16, somewhere around there. I'm guessing he wants a big. Who do you look at for his Hawks in the middle of the first round? Let's say somewhere in the middle of the first round.
Hawks are a very interesting team right now. I know they got Jalen Johnson under contract. Now they got Okongwu, who's kind of like their future. Clint Capella is going to be a free agent, probably not coming back, so you probably might want to get another big man. I think Thomas Sorber could be a steal for the Hawks team. He's a guy that could give you a lot of defensive intangibles, rebounding. Him and Jalen Johnson give you some size there. Like that would be a steal for the Hawks if they got their hands on Thomas Sorber. So I feel like they do need a big man right now. And if they keep Trae Young, you have to keep getting defensive pieces around him. You look at Dyson Daniels. Wow, a steal. That was a steal by the Hawks to get Dyson Daniels from the Pelicans, man. He fits that system well, and it's been a big reason why the Hawks have been better around Trae Young because they have more defensive players. So if you look for somebody the Hawks might want to get, I think Sorber could be a guy for them. Colin Boyle, not too familiar with too much of his game, but he's going to be in that lottery bracket, maybe around 10 or 11. And who's the other guy? Who's the other guy they mentioned? Asa Noel?
No, he said, let me bring it back. It was McNeely and
McNeely, yeah, he could be around that 10 or 14 lottery bracket as well. Those are two guys who have some intangibles, but they're not exactly like higher up, but they're definitely going to be lottery potential pieces. But I think the best fit for them will be a Thomas Sorber. But Brooklyn, we need a big too, so I hope we get Thomas Sorber before the Hawks have a chance to, so we'll see.
We actually have our draft guru here. Got it. There's the big board, the mock draft. Dylan, Alan, friend of the program, had a question about his Hawks. They have Sacramento's pick. Let's say middle of the first round. We don't know where it ends up exactly, but middle of the first round. Murray Boyles, Liam McNeely, Thomas Sorber ranked the three. Where would you rank those guys for his Hawks with the pick they get from the Kings? Murray
it's
Boyles.
Interesting that you actually it's interesting that you actually bring these names up because I've been updating my mock or my big board probably every 4 to 6 days. I try and do it. At right now, I believe they're 14 or 15. Yeah. Currently, I think they're 14th, so they're in the lottery. I think it's Chase Richardson. He's been climbing up draft boards. Sorber to me is in the 18 through 22 bracket. McNeely's now down for me to like the 16 through 20 bracket. He is completely fallen off of my big board. So unless if he performs really well tonight against Oklahoma, I think he's going to be an outside the lottery pick. But for the Hawks, yeah, I could see Jace Richardson or Igor Demen being the pick. I think that they're going to move off of Trae Young this offseason. So to me, they go point guard. Just depends on which one they want. I mean, Igor had a really good showing last night. Of course, the day that I bet against him, he performs, so that's always fun. But yeah, I could see them going Igor, Jace. I think they go point guard to replace Trae this year because you already have Onyeka Okongwu, you have Jalen Johnson, so that's your 4 and your 5. You have Dyson Daniels playing your 2. You got Zachariah Richardson playing your 3. So realistically, you need a 1 as a replacement for Trae Young if they move off of him this offseason. So I think Jace Richardson or Igor is the pick at 14 if they keep there.
All right. And Dylan, I want your take on the fight, the brawl heard around the world. First off, 2 things I want your thoughts on. I don't understand shoving as a man. Like, I don't think I've ever shoved a man like that. If someone approaches me, if someone gets in my bubble, I just punch him in the face to stop the threat. I don't really understand shoving. So that's one.
Yeah.
And two,
to me, I think the one thing with one shove is fine. It's like the initial get the fuck away from me, But if they come forward, you're smacking them across the face. But I don't get what the whole pushing and shoving. It's like fucking watching 4-year-olds argue over the chair in the classroom. Yeah.
If I view that as a threat, I'm not going to shove you back. I'm going to punch you in the face. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
I don't really
it's completely. It shows that it doesn't matter how tall you are. It's a bunch of pussies out there. That's for sure. To keep it simplistic. Yeah, no, it's weird. Like it literally looks like NBA fights today look like 4-year-olds when they're playing like Ring Around the Rosie or whatever it is when you're trying to get to that one seat. Everybody has to try and sit in, and if you don't sit in it, you're out. You know that game? That's what it looks like. It looks like they're just shoving each other for a chair. It's weird. I don't get it. It's weird to me. But yeah, I think it was pathetic. It was it was blown way more out of proportion than it needed to be. Like Legal Alerts posted it, and it showed like Watford's hand almost touching Turner's face, and I was like, oh shit, we got a brawl, and it ends up being a who can push harder matchup. It's so weird.
Then your thoughts? Okay, so two things on the brawl, Dylan. First, why was Turner allowed to stay in the game? A, and B, did you see anything that started it? Do you think it was just
Yeah, there was a side angle where Watford, who it wasn't Matherin, it may have been Nemhard.
It was Nemhard.
Watford was running back, so was Turner. I guess Nemhard said something to Watford, or Watford is just being a weirdo. Watford ended up pushing Nemhard. Nemhard gave him a little tap back. Turner came in, pushed him from behind, then they started pushing each other. It's like watching a sumo fight, minus the 500-pound life and an actual skill set that you need to do that. It's so weird. I don't even know why it's like a topic. Not meaning it for this show, just meaning around like social media. I don't understand why it got blown out of proportions the way it did. It was like it's like a Prius going up against a banana boat. Like it's the same thing. It just does different things. Like it's both vehicles are weird and not cool. And that's exactly what I thought of when I saw them shoving each other. I'm like, this is weird. This sucks. Be better. Throw a punch. I want to see like a left hook to the body with followed up by a right overhand. I don't want to see your left 2 fingers pushing his shoulder and then you running away. It's just it's pathetic.
Yeah, I don't. We always get taught that fighting is bad. Fighting is bad. Fighting is bad. Okay. Men hitting women is bad. Women hitting with other women probably doesn't solve anything. But can I just be honest? 2 men getting into a scrap actually solves a lot. Like, they'll probably be friends afterwards. It's all good. Whatever was causing it had to get out in the open anyway. Am I the only one that thinks 2 guys fighting really isn't the end of the world?
No, I think it's actually very beneficial. I mean, when I was young, there was this kid and I who, like, we always had problems. Like, when you're friends with somebody and you're cool with somebody, but there also is something that, like, could be said that could, like one day it'll be perfectly fine to say it, but the next day it's like that person's in a mood. They get pissed off. Let's fight. All right, fine. You fight. The one person wins, clearly. You high five and you go get fucking food after. It's the most simplistic.
You're friends. We're guys. We're dudes. We're not gonna.
Like, men are so simplistic. We can fight, and then we'll go grab a beer and watch sports and grab wings. Like, it's
chicks will be like 15 years later, sleep with your boyfriend. Like, remember 15 years ago, guys will just fight. Guys will just fight, and it's over with, and then we're cool.
Put on some gloves. Yeah, put on some gloves. spill a little blood, and then patch each other up and go get food. It's so simple.
Well, it's
I'm
not
the same exact
super
way.
simple. You got to think about some people have families, right? They don't want that to go out there on TV. That's gonna be out there on social media and stuff like that. So, if like single people, yes, you have a fight, settle over some drinks like that. But some people have family stuff like that. They don't necessarily want to deal with the backlash of, "Honey, why did you sucker punch that man and leave him with a bloody eye?" Like you don't want to have to explain all that. Like you don't want that to like follow you and ruin your personal life. But if you have a single life, I guess there's nothing really holding you back from having stuff like that happen. But it also depends as well. And some players as well. What is your rating in the NBA? Are you a superstar? Superstars kind of get away with stuff like that, whereas guys that are like not superstar players and you get fined like that, that could follow you around too. Like it's not as simple as we probably would want it to be if this was like 90s maybe, but it's a different timeline.
I was a
Quick
kid born in the
non-NBA
80s.
related. Oh,
Grew up
sorry.
in the
Go ahead, Gary.
90s. Oh, go ahead. I was born in the 80s. I grew up in the 90s. I don't know. That's how kids my age settle things. We got into a fight, and that was it. And that was over.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
I was
that
gonna say,
big of a deal.
even as a 2000s baby, even as a 2000s baby, that's what we used to do when we were young. Yeah, non-Nets NBA related, but Aaron Rodgers is visiting the Steelers training facility today. Oh,
Whoa!
I'm a Steelers fan, man. I can't just get the deal done or move on. This is not hard.
The Steelers going to trade for Kyler Murray? Is that's the question I've seen circulating?
I don't want that fucking Call of Duty lover on my team. I love Call of Duty, but I wouldn't want to be in the no.
It is his stats do go down when the video game is released. It's not even.
It's incredible.
It's not even debatable.
It's actually a historic downfall every single time a Call of Duty comes out. It's fucking incredible. No, I personally have never been a fan of my feet are better than my arm, and I don't like a quarterback that can't see over the offensive line. I'm sorry, but he's like 5'9", 5'10". I don't want him. Give me some 6'4", 6'5", somewhere from the Midwest that just literally can sling it 65 yards accurately. That's all I care about. Give me Arch Manning. That's who I want next year.
Well, Arch Manning can run too.
He can.
They actually brought him in on running from a certain formations to bring him in to run. But obviously, yeah, he can spin the football for sure.
You know what Arch Manning reminds me of? In all honesty, remember Blake Bortles coming out of college?
I don't say that. I do remember Blake Bortles.
In terms of what Blake Bortles' ceiling was, I feel like Arch has a higher ceiling than Blake did, Blake did coming out of college. But mobility-wise, they're very similar. Like it's like a goofy run, but they got the speed. They somehow got it. I'm cool with that.
I'm just glad you didn't say Danny Dimes. I'm appreciative of that.
No, it's not even Danny Dimes. It's Danny Doofenshmirtz. Let's be honest here. That guy is an absolute squid. He is a loser. Whoever's a Giants fan in here and now a Colts fan, I'm so sorry for you. That is one of the worst quarterbacks I've actually seen in human history. And I'm a Steelers fan. I had to watch Devin Duck Hodges lead my team to the wild card. Danny Doofenshmirtz is way worse. It's not even close.
Everybody fell down on the run. Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah, he looked like Usain Bolt until he fucking face planted. I was like, dude, get it. I'm pretty sure his career turnover to touchdown ratio is the same, if not turnovers are higher.
Well, Zach Wilson's got a negative.
Yeah, but at least Zach Wilson pulls. Danny Doofenshmirtz is just a loser on and off the field. At least Wilson gets it done at home.
He does. He does. That's the one thing you got to give him full credit for, Zach. Pulling the ladies. All right, we got LBL here. LBL, I want your thoughts real quick before we move on. LBL, your thoughts on the Watford situation with the fight, Turner being allowed to stay in, the Pacers bench clearing. All those guys are going to get suspended, right?
Maybe after reviewing it, but I think Crothers is always doing a lousy job. He's always doing it. I don't know how he got to ref for as long as he did. Because he definitely, put his finger up, his wet finger up and felt, oh, yeah, we're in Indiana. Yeah, let me give them the advantage. That's what it seemed like to me. Now, I do think that, Watford doing that is okay, but I thought Miles Turner should have got two, too. I thought he should have been bounced as well.
Yeah.
Was there an explanation on why he was allowed to stay in the game?
Because they're in Indiana, I believe.
Yeah, that's the reason. They also did get every single call down the end of the game. The no call, the Jordy, I wanted to get into Jordy. I'll let you start with that.
But
LBL.
you know what's
I was
kind
gonna
of
say,
what's kind of frustrating, and when you keep talking about, I heard you guys talk. You know, you're talking about the pushes and the open hand pushes and those type of things, and
The
it's
bitch fighting.
just that the wording of the NBA is just so strict that if you throw a punch, you're getting max money, and you're
But are
getting
you
max.
really thinking that though? Like if I'm in a physical
No, I'm
altercation, I'm not
saying, but
thinking
I
about
don't
I might get
understand
suspended.
that.
I'm saying
I don't
get away
understand
from
that.
me. Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't understand it either. I'm like, if I'm making multiple millions of dollars, if this guy calls me something I don't like, or if he openly disrespects me, I just might clock him in the head, and just say, hey, they'll just have to pay the fine. It's not like, I understand the difference when it's a playoff game, but it's like the freaking still 20 games to the season.
Was Watford thrown out? I didn't watch the game last night because there was
He
more.
was.
Yeah, he did get thrown
Oh,
out.
okay. Yeah, okay. It's March Madness, so I'm
Automatically.
sorry. I'm just not watching them right now. But yeah.
But that's what
no,
I'm
good.
saying. But I'm with you, Gary. I would have just, I'm not going to take the disrespect. I'm just going to hit the person, unless it's somebody that I think I could totally pummel, and it's like, you're not even worth it. I'll just laugh at you or something, But other than that,
That's a good question, right? Like the Pedro Martinez Don Zimmer situation, right? Like, I don't know. Like I said, men hitting women is not okay. Women hitting women probably doesn't solve anything. But if there's a guy who gets in my face and hits me, who I can pummel, I don't know that I'm gonna hold myself. It's a man, right? Like we're talking about a grown man here.
Yeah.
If he gets in my face and he threatens me, if a grown man hits you in the face, he can hurt you, right? He can.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like. Well, I got 50 pounds on you. You're 5 foot. If a grown man gets in my face and swings on me, I don't care. I'm gonna hit him back. I think. Even like if it's not, I don't.
But remember, there weren't really any things. Obviously, Miles Turner is probably, he's probably got about 20 pounds on Watford, and he's 3 inches taller. But yeah, probably more because he's definitely gotten thicker. But it's like
he's 6'11", like 245, 255.
It's like,
around that range.
But it's like, I know he came over to protect his teammate, but it's like, if you're not gonna hit me, then just stay out of it. But the thing that I noticed was when Matherin rushed over, it was like Watford used the ref in front of him. It's like, I don't really want to tangle with Matherin, but
Yo, he was sliding back. You're right about that.
I was like,
I'm out.
Push the ref towards him, like, so like guys are selective with their courage sometimes,
That's a good way to put it. Selective
in the 9th
courage.
grade, I got into this fight, and there was a rule: whoever started the fight got 5 days, and whoever didn't start the fight got 1 day up to 5. Right? Yeah. And we go to the principal's office, and the principal goes, "They said that you threw the first punch, Gary. Is that correct?" I said, "Yes, but he started." He goes, "If you threw the first punch, how did he start it?" I said, "He got in my face and said he was going to hit me. What am I supposed to sit there and let him hit me and then respond?" He said he was going to hit me. He got in my face, so I punched him. The principal's like, "It's a fair point. It's a fair point." All right,
see, that's the difference.
Gary's a politician.
Speaking of which, I might have to bounce off and on because I've got these parent-teacher conferences. I got one in about 6 minutes, so I hope I don't transpose and start talking about the Nets game. And
oh, you definitely should.
see, Gary, though, that's the difference between you and I.
But I understand what you're saying, because I say that to the teenagers all the time. I say, like when I was a kid, like when I was in high school, if somebody, like really disrespected me and said, "Hey, sick my duck" or whatever, I'm like, and I'm getting ready, I'm gonna hit him. I'm not gonna get in trouble with my pops. My pops is gonna say, "What did he say?" He said,
"Yeah,
this,
exactly,
he called me
exactly."
This, and then I hit him.
Funny,
like, okay, well, just try not to fight in school. All right, that's all he's gonna say, really, because But I tell today's kids, it's like, you guys say all of this stuff, and then you just laugh it off or this and that, and it's like, I don't understand that, but I guess I'm from a different generation, because I would.
Dylan wanted to comment on that. Dylan, what did you want to comment on that?
No, I was going to say that was the difference between school, like the way that they reacted to it is, like, you could have somebody bothering you for like months on end, right? Whether it's shoving from behind, shit talking in your face, threatening you. But as soon as you react after feeling threatened, you get the same fucking detentions, suspensions, the whole 9 yards. Like, I remember this one time I got into a fight. It was probably like 7th grade, and it was off school. It was off school grounds, after school hours. Got into a fight with this kid, and the parent brought it to the school, saying that, oh, I beat the shit out of her kid, and he should be punished for this. They gave me like 3 or 4 days of out of school suspension for it. I was like, first of all, the kid came up to me, talking shit to me, then said, we're going to fight. And I said, okay. And he threw the first punch. So I'm like, it's so weird how, how much difference there is in eras of like principals and schools reacting to fight. It's just pathetic. Like my brothers are turning 13 in May. And like one kid, they were playing basketball outside at school during school hours, and this one kid elbowed my brother and then pushed him to the floor. Right, my brother gets up, grabs him by the neck, and threw him into a fence. He was the one that got out of school suspension for that for a day. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's so weird how they react to it nowadays. It's pretty much you can't defend yourself without getting punished for it, which I think is pathetic. But
you still,
all right, I gotta bring this back. I gotta bring this back to
you still gotta let the hands go, though.
I agree with
Exactly.
LBL.
Exactly.
Men let the hands go. Women let the words go. That's the fundamental difference between men and women, right? But I want to switch this back. Ziaire Williams was cooking last night. What did he have? 6 threes, John? Is that what he hit?
Yeah, 6 threes. 6 out of 12.
We would have never thought this would be the case. I would never guess that he's going to be a guy that hits 6 threes in a game. His play has improved all around. He's a good NBA player.
Guess who missed 6 threes?
It was Keon Johnson.
No,
Keon Johnson.
Clowney. He was 1 for 7.
Oh, okay.
He's not come back hot. But I want to address this Ziaire Williams thing because he's played well. John, I want to start with you. Ziaire Williams, he's going to be a net next year. But my question is, how much? And is he a starting 3 or is he just a rotational guy? Is he a backup guy? What are your thoughts on Ziaire Williams and how much do you think he's going to demand next year as a free agent or in this offseason?
Yeah, very great questions. Listen, looking at Ziaire this year, he's been very consistent. He has developed a lot under Jordy. The 3-point shot, which was a weakness, has gotten much better. The defense from the jump was very active, and he's shown you that. Looking at what he could potentially get, I think me and Dylan have talked about like around a $10, $11 million contract for maybe 3 years or 4, something like that. I think 3 would be fine because Ziaire, like this is his like first real team where he's truly developed. And I think the role he serves on his team is a very versatile role. I think he could truly be a Swiss Army knife guy. I think mostly he's a bench guy, but this is a long season. See, on certain nights, you rest your best guys. He's shown you he can start. He can come off the bench. He can handle the dunker spot. He can rebound. He does a lot of different things on this team right now. We need that versatility. And he's also 6'9". I think some people say that Keon Johnson could be a Bruce Brown on this team. How about we look at Ziaire Williams? He does a lot more on the versatile end than Keon Johnson does this season. And I just think Ziaire has definitely put himself in that conversation as being a future piece, but also being that versatile guy that we can use in many different roles on this team. And I think that's the type of players we need to start bringing on this team. So I think Zaire's put himself in a great position. I hope he just finishes strong because he's definitely playing with a lot more confidence this time around. And that's a good thing to see.
Let me move to you, Dylan. Your thoughts, Ziaire, on his play as of late and what he's going to command in free agency, and what do you think his role is with the Nets moving forward?
I think it's just key rotational piece, like 6th, 7th man, first or second guy off the bench, 6th, 7th man. I would say like 11 to 13 million is probably the range of a role player of his caliber. Similar to like what Dorian Finney-Smith got, the contract previously, or the contract that he's currently on. He's making like 14.9 at the end of it, but he was at like 13 million when we got him. I think it's around that range, like that 11 through 14 million. But yeah, key rotational piece, not a starter. I think the best that you could do is with a guy that's dealt with injuries of his, who had the upside that he had. He stayed relatively healthy this season. I think as a role player with the minutes that he has, he's performed way better than a lot of people had expected. So I would keep him as a rotational piece around that range.
LBL, same question to you. I've been very impressed with Ziaire. I think he's played well all season. Defensively, he absolutely hounds you. He's a playmaker defensively. He always seems to get his hand on the ball, block a shot, he's always seeming to do something defensively to impact the game. And now he's hitting the 3 ball. He's hit the 3, and it's not like just a game or two. He's been consistently hitting the 3 ball since he got back. Can he be a legitimate 3-and-D guy? What are your thoughts on Ziaire? What's his upside? And again, what do you think he's going to demand, as a free agent?
Well, he is still young, right? He's like 23 or something like that. So I think that he's a good prospect to work with, but like a starter, I'll be disappointed if he's the starter on our team. If he's the starting 3 on our team next year, I'll be disappointed if it isn't because he outright won the spot. Like I wouldn't guarantee a lot of spots, a lot of starting spots, period. I just let them go at it. And if he wins it, he wins it. But I also think I disagree a little with your take and John's take a little bit. And I remember when he was not hitting that shot earlier in the year as well, and I said, what is going, his defense has been consistent throughout the year, but I don't think his offense has been consistent. He's gotten better more recently, and maybe it's because he's allowed to relax with a lot of the veterans gone, because it's very difficult to play when you're a young guy and you're playing for your next contract and there are still veterans there, because you feel like if I make a mistake, I'm out of here, so it's very difficult to play under those kind of conditions. But I think maybe now that we're not thinking about the play-in, maybe it's allowed him to relax with less, without DFS out there, without these guys. It's made it easier for him to relax. And, I think he'd probably command, I'd say like Dylan's probably right, like maybe like a 12 to 13 maybe for like 3-year 35 or something like that. I think it would be something like that. And he also has to think about himself. He has to bet on he, depending on whether he wants to bet on himself or not, like does he think that he's going to get better with more opportunity, because he is a young guy and he doesn't want to get stuck in a low contract and then you know what I mean? So
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, LBL, right? Like, we all loved Dub. Like, Dorian Finney-Smith, we valued him. We thought highly of him. He's not a superstar, but he's a good role player, right? And he plays during closing time. Who would you rather have next year? Dorian Finney-Smith or Ziaire Williams?
I'd rather have Ziaire just because of the trajectory of where we're going. I don't, it's like, I think that what's his name?
No, I'm saying put it aside. Like, if you were just building a team and you could have one of these guys for 1 year, just next year, who would you value more? Not necessarily our team because DFS is older, but just if you were a good team and you were a playoff team, and I said you could have either DFS or Ziaire, who would you rather have?
I can't say if you can't say if, because part of what DFS is his experience,
Yeah.
So, I, even though that's working for him, his age kind of works against him, where Ziaire has more energy, to go longer as well. Like, and so I think that because Finney Smith has played a lot of years, and he's played a lot of years even hurt sometimes. So, he's not the same young guy. So I'd still rather have Ziaire because I feel like he has more upside left than DFS has downside.
And that's my point, LBL. Like, so Doe is gonna opt out of his 15 to 6. What is he making? 16. He's gonna opt out of that because he thinks he can get paid more, and maybe he can because he's got a proven history. But we're both saying that we think Ziaire. I would rather have Ziaire than Doe, right? So if Doe is gonna get 18 million, let's say, are we undervaluing how much Ziaire is going to command in a free market, in a free agency year? Is it possible he's going to get way more than we're thinking, that 11 to 12 range?
No.
Well, no, I don't think he's going to get 15 or anything like that until he's got to prove it over a real season. He's got to really prove it, because remember, a lot of guys are in that in between thing. So you don't want to overpay for a guy and then find out someone else close to his age or someone even from the draft can do what Ziaire does, not when it's a lot less cheaper, So I don't think they're gonna, because remember, so many teams are strapped, they're not gonna overpay for him. Only it has to be like a veteran. It's what I mean? Like if we're gonna overpay for someone like Nazir, Nazir Reed or something like that. We're gonna overpay for him because we're taking him from a playoff team supposedly to us,
Right, and we have the
Agreed.
cap space this year, which is advantage. I just want to note this too. Like, what I noticed there about Zaire's offense this year? You look at his highlights from Memphis. I remember a few months ago I watched his highlights of Memphis. He had this mid-range moving shot. It was really good mid-range shot, but he didn't do anything else. This season, he's done the mid-range shot less, but it's still good. But he's added more. 3-point shots gone better, and he's dunked a lot more at the rim. I said this season, can he be a rim runner? Can he improve the 3-point shot? He's improved on those things. So I know we need to see a lot more on the offensive side, like you said, LBL, but he's definitely made his offense more versatile than it was with Memphis.
Just the energy and the effort he gives you it always seems to end up making a play on the defensive side of the court, right? There's a saying I love: the harder I work, the luckier I get. And that's kind of like you see with Ziaire. He hounds you on defense. He's all over the place. He plays with so much energy, and he ends up with steals. He ends up with loose balls. He ends up with block shots. Like, he really does a lot throughout the course of his time in the game to help you win. I think is he a starter? No, because we're going to draft Cooper Flagg and they play the same position.
Right.
So, but I think he's valuable to his team, and I'd like to keep him. And I'm hoping he doesn't demand $18 million or anything like that. But he's a valuable piece, like he really is. I want to address this real quick. Alan asked a really good question. He's not a Nets fan, but it says, how many guys on the current roster could you see starting in 2 to 3 years? My Hawks stink, but I am confident in 4 starters going forward. That's a really good question. I only see two guys that could start in Clowney and Cam Thomas. I don't think Sean Marks and the Nets value Cam Thomas, so I think he's going to be sent off in a trade next year after they sign him to a team-friendly deal, which we're going to get to in a second. So the only guy on this team that I think could start 2 to 3 years from now is Clowney. John and LBL, what do you guys think?
Yeah, and Leaf made a great point on Breeze's show yesterday. We have
I'm sorry, what happened?
a lot of bench type pieces on this team, but we don't have that core starting 5. Wait, what?
Go ahead. You're good, John. Go ahead. I'll bring it to LBL in a second.
Like Leaf made a good point on Bruce yesterday. We have a lot of bench pieces. We don't exactly have that starting 5. Could Thomas and Clowney potentially be starters on this team in 2 to 3 years? Maybe, but their futures also depend on who we draft. If you draft a forward, will Clowney be playing power forward or be playing off the bench? That's something that'll have to be evaluated. And if you draft a scoring guard in 2026 with Darren Peterson, does Thomas remain your starter? So yes, those two hypothetically have potential start in this team, but also at the same time, they could be moved to the bench because you draft actual starters that are potentially better. So I can't say that they're going to be starters on this team in 2 to 3 years until I see how we perform in the draft, because that will play a big role in dictating Clowney and Thomas's futures.
The answer could be 0, Alan. The answer could be 0. It could be 1. It could be 2. LBL, how many guys on this team do you think are you confident in that are starters on this team in 2 to 3 years? LBL?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
All right. How many guys on this team, on the current roster, are you confident in that can be starters on this team in the next 2 to 3 years? All right, we're having some technical difficulties here with LBL. All right, let's move on to Cam Thomas, because we wanted to spend some time on this last episode but couldn't. Cam Thomas, it looks like it's been reported, it's been rumored, looking in that $20 to $22 million range for his contract, $20 to $22 million, which is a lot less than we've talked about. We talked about 25 to 28. Your thoughts on Cam Thomas? Are they going to bring him back? Is 20 to 22 the right amount? And if so, are they bringing him back just to trade him? Because that seems like he's being undervalued for a guy that is 25-5 potentially.
A lot of things to dissect there. I think many of us are surprised that Thomas played so many less games this year. So we thought this would be the year he would take off, play over 50 games, and show that he could be that foundational piece. Unfortunately, injuries got in the way, and we were kind of not trying to win the season. So maybe we kind of rested him a little bit more than we had to, but still he couldn't recover from the hamstring thing. So now you wonder, he did show some improvements this year. The playmaking got better, especially towards the end. The rebounding defense were better this season. Offensively, he was way more efficient. He listened to Jordy and kind of fit in the system. But did he do enough on the durability and consistency spectrum? You probably want to see more. So if you re-sign him to a $22 million contract, I keep saying this, that would be the bargain deal of the decade. A very great, valuable market contract because offensively he keeps getting better and all the other things keep getting better. That is an attractive trade contract like you've been talking about, Gary. And we all have to admit the obvious. If he is signed around a $25 million contract, there is a 50% chance he could be your most important trade asset if you eventually want to get a star or make a bigger move. Now, could you resign him to a 3-year, $30 million contract potentially? Yes, especially if the market value's there. But at the end of the day, if you could get him to a $22 million contract, it is a huge bargain deal. And it's not to say that Thomas' value is bad, but the things he has going against him are his durability. He hasn't gone through full season yet. And having the consistency in 10, 20, 15 games straight. He's had some good games in like 2 to 4 games straight. It has to be way more consistent. I said this to the Breezy Show. This is the most important season for Cam Thomas' career. If he can't hold the starter's job next year, you have to think about maybe converting him to a 6-man role or eventually thinking about trading him down the line. That's just the way it's looking right now. But Thomas still has some time, but time is a tick, and he has to show you next season he can be way more consistent and way more durable, especially if he gets a contract around 22 mil.
Well, he's only played a handful of games this year, right? I thought this was going to be a big season. I don't know the severity of the hamstring pull. A hamstring strain is not something you want to play with. If it's, you can pull it again and worsen it, and the only way to recover from a hamstring is to rest it, right? There's not much else you can do with it. But I thought this was a big year for Cam, and he only played a handful of games. LBL, the reports are that Cam Thomas is going to command somewhere around a $20 to $22 million contract, which seems exceptionally low to me. When you look at Quickly got 30, Jalen Green got 35. A lot of people got a lot of money. What are your thoughts on a $22 million deal, let's say, hypothetically, for Cam Thomas? LBL, you're muted. LBL?
I think he's having communication. He said he was at a parent-teacher conference. Maybe there's something going on there.
What do you want to talk about the Nets? You don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it.
Right.
I want to talk about the Nets. The severity of the injuries. Here's my question. If the Nets were competing and the Nets were playing for the playoffs, if this was the playoffs, would Cam Thomas have been playing? Like, how many games would Cam Thomas have missed if the Nets were actually trying to win and compete?
He probably could have maybe played, but hamstrings, like you and many people saying, are very tricky injuries. Let's remember this too. Cam Thomas did come into the season a little more bulkier. He definitely added some pounds to his body, and could that have played a factor in his hamstring pop up the way it did? Because remember, we said that Cam Thomas needed to come into the season bulkier. He needed to show defensively he could handle matchups more. He did for a little bit, but the toll it probably took on his body is definitely something that makes you go, if he gets even stronger, could his legs or his hamstrings hold up to that physicality? That is the worry with Cam Thomas. That's why the $30 million contract he probably wants in his head, can his body handle that? I think that's the big question we need answered next year. If and when he gets re-signed with us, can he play more than 50 games a season, and can his body hold up to that? We really have to find out, because right now that could have played a factor in the hamstring injury, and we'll have to see if he could come in next year healthier and figure that out, because that's definitely a worry, is his durability factor.
Lou makes a pun here, but I think there's some accuracy to it. Is he going to get pinned as Lou says Cam Zion Thomas? Is he going to get pegged as a guy who's injury prone, who doesn't play much? Because that's what his history says. And that's what if he was healthy, if he was able to play, I think he should have, because this, I think, is going to hurt his bottom line. He played 29 games. He's only had one season where he's played more than 60 games. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and that's why I keep saying the organization. I think they're it's internally smiling. You don't want them to smile about the situation. You want Thomas to be healthy, but they really do have a lot of cards this year. The only card Thomas has is if he doesn't like the offers he's getting, he could take a $5 million qualifying offer, bank on himself, and maybe get more money. But at the end of the day, if your market is already small and the durability is a huge question mark, I don't think Cam Thomas has a lot of power to play with. I think his agency knows that too. That's why getting a fair middle tier deal like a $20 to $25 million contract for maybe 3 or 4 years done is his best bet right now. It's good for the organization, gives us time to figure out his future, and we have financial flexibility if his contract is at great market value. So I think the organization has a lot of control over his contract situation. And I think for Thomas, he needs to show us next year that he can be durable and that he can hold a starter's role. He didn't even make the qualifying offer for a starter's role. It was, I think, 8 mil. Now it's down to 5 mil. I think Cam Thomas knows that if he gets over 20 mil, that's a victory for him because it's his first real contract. But you then have to show in a year or a year and a half that you could hold down the position. Because if you draft better talent in these next 2 drafts, will Thomas still be a starter? That is what will be answered if he can't hold up to it.
One of these guys. I'm sorry.
Here's my concern with Cam Thomas is that
Yeah.
he signs a 1-year deal. Because why would he lock himself into a $20 to $22 million deal when the salary cap goes up every year? Next year, a lot more teams have a lot more money to spend than this year. Why would he lock himself into a team-friendly deal in a bad free agency year? Right? Like he'll take a 1-year deal, try to average that 25-5, and test the market again next year. LBL, your thoughts on that?
I think I told you before, if he signs a 1-year deal, then that means he's leaving. Because
I agree. I agree. I think he's going to sign.
I mean, but why would we? I'm trying to understand why would we even sign him for a 1-year deal? It's like it's either 2 or more, or you just let him go. You go.
Then let him go then. But he's not going to get the money anywhere else, right? Because the teams just don't have the money.
Saying. So to sign him to a 1-year deal just to be on a team that we're hoping is still losing, that doesn't even make sense. We might as well let him go somewhere else, be horrible, and then get the draft pick that we need.
Let me ask you a question, Mark. Would you rather sign a 3-year, $66 million contract this year or a 3-year, $100 million contract next year?
It's going to be hard for Mark. Yeah, but I'm saying, you think that Thomas is going to get – you think that if he's – like it's hard to give him a 3-year, $100 million deal based on 1 year. That's what I'm trying to say. Because Breezy, whoever loves him, Jay, whoever, he has not proven himself over the course of a season on a 500 basketball team. So to say that he's gonna ball out, score 25 a game, and that then be eligible for a 3-year, $100 million, it's like I don't think it works like that.
3-year, $100 million is not what it used to be, especially another. The cap goes up every year. So I sign next year. My 3 for 100. Jalen Green is getting $35 million a year.
Quickly, but see, when you say that,
Cam Thomas is better than these guys. He just hasn't played much.
But when you say that the cap goes up every year, the only reason the cap goes up every year is not so that you could fortify your whole team. It's like the greedy guys who are your 3 best players take all the money.
No, agreed. And so the question becomes: is Cam Thomas one of those 3 guys?
Yeah, that is the question. So we'll have to see. I mean, do you risk that? Like, to me, like if you get Cooper, Ace, Dillon, whoever.
But you get those guys on rookie deals. By the time they're making money, Cam Thomas's contract is up. You know what I'm saying? You get those guys on a team-friendly rookie deal for 4 years. So if you get Cooper, you got him on the cheap for 4 years. And then you can give that money to Cam Thomas if you value Cam Thomas. I don't think they value Cam Thomas. I think he's going to sign.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I don't think they do either. I think that they're looking at it as, because everybody is like thinking, well, what if we lose? Like their whole thing is, if another team comes up and says we're going to sign you to a $20 million, make good deal, right? and he signs and we let him go, half of our fan base is going to be pulling their hair out saying, oh my God, how could we let him go for nothing? But at the same time, they're thinking, well, we kept him and we still were nothing anyway. So now what are we doing? So I don't think they believe in him. It's not like he's that one guy and they're saying, because that's what keeps getting me vexed is everybody keeps saying, well, let's not get this point guard because, let's not draft Trey because he's the same as this guy. Or let's not get Jace Richardson because he's 6'3", just like Cam Thomas and stuff. And it's like, you got to stop. If this guy is truly a cornerstone, then you can say, let's build around him. But I am of the opinion he's not really a cornerstone. I feel like, you know what he is? He's like, now this may have not been the same order, but he's like a Malik Monk. He's like a Malik Monk, but we're waiting to get the person,
That's interesting, and I think that's the question people want answers to: is Cam Thomas a foundational piece, or is he maybe a secondary or third star piece? I think what the organization needs to do is resign to a fair contract because we still need the flexibility with his contract. If he is a valuable trade asset, you want that contract to be able to flip if you do want to get a star in the future. And if it's a market value contract, that gives us power and some bargaining power. Like if he does the qualifying offer thing, you lose that control, like you said, LBL. And then it's like, what was the point? Like, why was Simon qualifying offer at all if his value is even worse now because he's going to go onto a team who has actually money to give him? Like, if you sign to a fair market deal, it gives us that power to figure out his future. And if you want to go after somebody that's a bigger piece, you have his contract. But we don't have a lot of other valuable assets on his team, though, right now to do that. So you lose it for nothing. That's a mistake.
But ask yourself this. If he was really a trade piece, wouldn't people be trying to get him right now?
Well, he's also making $4 million, Elio.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying even in a sign and trade. Wouldn't they be trying to get him if he was really that guy?
Right, but we also got to remember some teams are over the luxury apron too, and we have a new Ziaire. That's why signing to a fair market contract is way more important than giving him 30, 40 mil. Like, listen, Cam Thomas is a good scorer, but like we said, he hasn't had enough time to show the playmaking, defense, rebounding for like 30, 40, 50 games. He showed it in about 20 games. Like, if you give him more money than what you should, it's bad strategy because we're new Ziaire. People would hypothetically maybe take on Thomas' salary, but not for like over 30, 40 mil. Like, that's why you need a fair market value contract because other teams who will take him on for maybe a star, they want it to be a good market contract. They can either get rid of it if they don't feel Thomas is a fit, or they maybe want to keep him and re-sign him longer. Like, if you give him more than you have to, that would potentially be a mistake given the way we're in the new CBA era, which there are a lot of teams that are in penalties. That's why they couldn't trade for Thomas if they wanted to.
What's bad is, what's unfair to Cam Thomas is that we're asking him, like let's put out a number. Like, let's say he scores a 22 to 25 a game, right? Because even 25 is a lot of points. For a young guy, it's a lot of points over, say, 70, 80 games. He hasn't proven that yet. He's never done that. The most games he's ever played is like 66 or something, right? Now, what I'm saying is, if you're saying, well, he could score and this and that, the unfair part to Thomas is some Nets fans are looking around at other guys that score like Thomas or that Thomas can outscore, and they're like, well, he's better than this guy, or he's better than this, like, but he's not bringing enough to the team. He's not bringing enough to the team to make us really better to justify that money. You don't mind overpaying when you're winning, but when you're not winning, you don't want to overpay.
Right. That's why market value contract is so important right now. And if Thomas wants way more than that and he takes qualifying over, that's when this whole situation will get dicey. So hopefully they both agree to a fair middle number, and that puts us in a great position with his future. But this summer will tell us how Marks values him and what Thomas truly thinks of his value. And I think they both have to agree to a fair middle number because there are a lot of red flags on both sides of the aisle if this deal goes south.
And I want to bring Leaf in. Leaf is here. Leaf's gonna disagree with me on his value. Leaf, Go ahead. How do you assess the fair market value of Cam Thomas this offseason?
The maximum I'm giving him is 21 million a year. I'm not giving him no more than that. I don't know where this 25 and where this 25 plus came from. He hasn't qualified for any awards. In these said past 5 years, not MIP, not nothing. He hasn't qualified for any of them. The minute that he first started playing 30 something minutes, bro, here come the injuries. Bro. Like he only played 67 games last year, and it came on a non-traditional role. And then we decided to do it this year, bro, like right out of the gate. And then it only turned into 25 games, man. I'm like, why would we do this? And we've been getting worse and worse in the last 2 seasons. Like you're not handing like the thing about raw teams that's going towards losing 55 plus games a year, bro. They don't sign these type of contracts. They don't give away this type of money to players that haven't qualified for anything. They just don't do it, bro. Like you could scream to the high heavens, Cam Thomas is better than this dude and that guy and this guy and this guy, bro. Like I kept telling Breezy, bro, like he's over the fence. He's in the dog. He's in the doghouse. He's kicked the dog out. That Cam Thomas belongs here and this, that, and the third because he was picked number 27th. And the reality is the only reason why he's picked because Kevin Durant tapped somebody on the shoulder, bro, and said, "Yo, all right, yo, we should get him." That's the reality of the situation, bro. This team needs a starting five badly, bro. We could get bench players anywhere, bro. You saw that last night. You saw that the last 2 games. Maxwell.
Let me ask you a question. I don't know that I disagree, but you view Cam Thomas as a bench guy on a good team?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that's a crazy argument, but I think he's also a guy, if given the opportunity and given the ball, free reign, he could average 25 and 5 easily. If you want to say he's a bench guy, like, okay, I can see why you would think that. But I also think he's a guy that if you give him the ball, he can average 25 and 5. It's just, what is your role for him?
25 if he can average 25 and 5 with 17 plus shots a game, of course, but what is that doing for your unit? What we see what that like, we just going to get out here and let him rack up points and let him max it up just so he could get his numbers up, bro. What is that doing for your unit? What has that done for us ever since Kevin Durant said, yo, he wanted out? Cam Thomas has been given a green light to just go off. The only games I remember us winning when him going off, that game when he had 40 against the Wizards. We lost against that Suns team that still had Mikal and CJ. We lost against that Clippers team that had a healthy PG and a healthy Kawhi Leonard. And then you move forward and forward, bro. Like, look what Cam Thomas did against the Bucks, 40, we lose. Look what Cam Thomas did against the Tangerines, 40-something, we lose. Look what Cam Thomas did. I'm like, bruh, is this what we co-signing? Like, where's the W's at? Of course he could get 25 off 17 plus shots a game because we're losing.
Right. Okay. So the reason why we're losing is not because of Cam Thomas. And you're right. We don't have a squad. So you're saying, does he fit in the squad that wins? I don't know because we don't have a squad. We have 12 pieces of junk, basically, right? Like we don't have a squad. Will he fit into the squad when we do have a squad? I don't know. Would he fit in with? I don't know, right? And those are all valid questions. But what I'm saying is, okay, Cam Thomas's efficiency is going to be lower because he launches every single grenade. He takes every single difficult shot. When the shot clock is down, 4, 3, 2, the ball goes to Cam Thomas, and Cam Thomas has to launch it. If you want, he could have a higher efficiency rating and not take any of those grenades. But who else would you want to take those tough shots, right? The Nets have a stagnant offense where he's asked to do a lot. If he was just in a role as a secondary piece to a dominant scorer, his efficiency would go through the roof, right? Because he wouldn't have to take these difficult shots every time the shot clock expiring and put up shots because your offense is stagnant and can't move. Now you got to put something up.
Hey,
all I'm gonna tell you, hold on, LB. All I'm gonna tell you, bro, if you put Cam Thomas on some said teams right now as they are constructed, He is a sixth man off the bench. You put him on Cleveland, he ain't starting. You put him on Boston, he ain't starting.
He doesn't
You
play
put
for
him on
Boston. I
OKC,
agree.
you put him on OKC, he ain't starting. You put him on
Agreed.
Denver, he ain't starting. You put him on the Lakers, he ain't starting. You put
He's
him on
not
Golden
starting
State,
for,
he ain't
you know,
starting.
he's starting for Denver. He's starting for the Lakers. The
He
other
is
teams, I
not
agree.
starting for no Denver.
Why wouldn't he be who at the 2? Why isn't he starting at the 2?
No, because Denver only starts one defensive liability and minimum 2, and that's Murray and Joker. They start
So you're saying it's defensive.
9 times
All right.
out of 10, they starting Christian Brown at the 2, bro, for defense or for effort. That's how they play, bro. Like they can't have Jamal Murray and Joker out there on an island defensively, bro,
Yeah,
because
I
they
don't see.
need more. They need more side. They need more agility out there. They need more defensive responsibility out there.
But like my point is, so let's say you started Cam Thomas on Denver. You know what his efficiency would be? He would score 30 points on 18 shots, right? Because they'd be good shots. He wouldn't have to force things up. And that's what I'm saying. Like just looking at effective field goal percentage and saying he's an inefficient scorer, I think is not a great way to look at it. This guy needs to take every single difficult shot because the Nets don't have anyone else who can put those shots up. They don't have anyone else who can create offense for themselves. And it's the same thing that D'Lo is seeing right now. D'Lo's efficiency with the Lakers last year was way higher. Why? Because he was getting good shots. Now he needs to put up bad shots because that's the offense that we're in. It's not like D'Lo just overnight became an inefficient scorer. It's the offense that he's in. What were you going to say, LBL?
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say right now I don't see that big a difference. And like I'm looking at what Lou said. We could say the same about Jordan Poole, but he helped Golden State get a chip. Is it really that he helped them get a chip? Or
He did help.
Golden
I'm not
State?
saying he was the key piece. He
Yeah,
was
but
a
that's
part
what
of
I'm
that
saying.
team.
Golden
He
Yeah.
did help, and he helped
He was like
off
the
the
fifth
bench.
piece.
He
was like
helped
the
off
fifth
the
piece on that
bench
team.
in his
So let me say
role.
this. I thought it was a mistake when they first gave him that big contract. Golden State gave it to him. I said, he's not worth that. He's not that type of guy. And I've been proven right. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of seen it because he's just a chucker and a guy who's trying to imitate Steph, but he's not Steph and he's not anywhere close. And, and I knew like them giving them that, I'm like, I didn't know they were going to trade him then, but I was trying to understand, why did you give him so much money? He wasn't worth it. And what I'm saying is, when I'm looking at Cam, I'm looking at things and I'm like, is he actually a better player than Malik Monk? I really don't see it. I'm not saying Monk is a great player. I'm just saying he's a guy that could start in a pinch. He's a guy that, less of a combo because he doesn't really play point that much. But he plays, he runs the offense more than Thomas does. And he could score and he could dunk and he could do everything. So I'm like, and I think, what did he get? Like, didn't he get like
18 or 19.
18 a year for 4 years? And
Something like that.
and they wouldn't have given him that, but they thought he was going to be the third guard, right? They thought he was going to be with Fox and the other person, and then that was going to be it. So they weren't paying him.
Right.
They were paying him
Right.
as a strength, yeah, so that our offense doesn't go too down when he comes on. And that's sort of what Thomas is, to try to say that he's this guy that, is, a 25-point scorer who, we can't wait to get in the game. He's not, to me, he's not that. Now, he's still young enough to prove me wrong, but I just don't see that. So I'm like, I'm not going to pay it. I'd rather have the era of omission than commission.
I'd rather have that too.
I want to transition to the next topic real quick. We can come back to this, but I want to get to this real quick. Nick Claxton again. I do this every day, and I'm gonna continue to do this. Nick Claxton.
I saw
30
it.
minutes. 6
-2
points.
to -6, right?
-12. -12 for Claxton, and Day'Ron Sharpe is +6. I do this every single game, guys. It's not a one-off. I do this literally every single game. Day'Ron Sharpe is a plus, and Nick Claxton is a negative. Now he's a -12. Leaf, I've never really gotten your. Well, let me go with John first. John, you've been quiet for a while, and I want to get Leaf on this too. Again, your thoughts, Claxton. Is it time that we just it's over? We have to just try to move this contract in the offseason?
I think a lot of people are on board with that. And looking at the draft, I did a show with Ice recently. Like, there are a lot of different centers we could get in this draft to reset the center position and just move forward. Because with Claxton, you only get his best if you have two superstars. We're not in a position to build around him whatsoever. So if a team like the Lakers really need a big this summer, let's get the deal done, take the expirings, whatever capital you can get, and just move forward. Getting a fresh center and actual big to handle matchups is so important. Claxton's season has been so up and down. The only good games we really seen him have is against Taj Gibson, Brooke Lopez, and guys who weren't even playing their centers on certain nights. But then you see him get cooked by Bismack Biyombo, Moose Diabate, and all the other bigs, young or old. It's just too inconsistent right now. And without superstars, Claxton looks very Clark Kent-ish. And we just kind of need to get a new center that can actually handle the matchups. Claxton, unfortunately, is an undersized power forward with no offensive game who could guard 1 through 4 on certain matchups, but against fives, struggles mightily. And Dayron, as good as he is as a backup center, he is mostly a backup center without a dribble game and gets in foul trouble a lot. You need an actual big that can handle the matchups. And if Sean Marks actually drafts over a 7-footer on draft night, it's breaking freaking news. It really is, because that's the way the NBA is moving. And unfortunately, this was a horrible investment on Sean Marks while giving Claxton all this money with no accolades to his name as well. And it's just showing you that Claxton got the money, but he hasn't evolved his game whatsoever since the season started. And you just kind of need to get rid of it and start fresh at the center position, which would be great for us and gives us a fresh chance to get a big who can actually handle the position in a more quality effort.
Leaf, I do this every game. Every game, Claxton's a net negative. They put Dayron Sharp in. He's a plus, and he's a plus. The game that Claxton didn't play and he was suspended because of the technical fouls, Sharp was still a positive. So it didn't matter if he was in with starters or the bench. He was a plus. Nick Claxton is a negative every single night. Is it time for the Nets just to dump this contract if they can and move on from Nick Claxton?
Yeah, it was time to do it, bro. This time last year, I wasn't on. I wasn't
And the
on
year
board with
before
paying.
that.
I wasn't on board with paying him. I was not on board with paying him, bro. Everybody knows that. You could go back to Breezy streams. This time last year, I was not on board with paying him. Everybody said it was disrespectful, and Clax needs to be here because he was. I'm like, bro, this. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. The camp, and I'm glad we talked about the Cam Thomas contract before, because the Cam Thomas, the Claxton, everything that Claxton is doing now is basically a silver liner for what Cam Thomas is going to be doing, because he's going to be the game plan, bro. Like, if we sign him to that set much money, the thing about Claxton is that he's at a disadvantage because exactly everything that you said. I don't necessarily think he needs 2 stars. You could send him to Atlanta, he'll be all right. You could send him to New Orleans, he'll be all right. I think he'll be fine. The Lakers, New Orleans, or the Hawks. Me personally, but it's definitely time to get rid of this contract for sure. For sure. I'm just looking at teams that's just willing to break it up and willing to body it up, and then send Claxton this set contract this year. By the way, and when you talked about effective field goal percentage and all of those type of things, just know that we have the most effective field goal percentage shooter in the league, and that's Cam Johnson. The only other person that's as high as him that's shooting in the 60s, bro, is of course Steph Curry. That's the only other person that's doing it. So they like effective field goal percentage, I don't think really means anything, bro. Like Cam
I
Thomas
agree.
is just not running the sets the sets and getting the open shots that Cam Johnson is getting, because he's not getting off the screens like Cam Johnson is getting off the screens. And I've seen that with other players that's just trying to get open. So but back to Claxton, bro. Yeah, we definitely need to move this shit, bro. Like, I'm on board of getting something. We could dump him. We could dump Cam Johnson for contracts. We could dump Claxton for a said All-Star. I don't care, bro. Like, let's just get this shit done. I'm ready for the season to end like yesterday, bro. Like, come on.
Do you guys think Minnesota would be interested in him if we did like a sign and trade?
Nah, they're over the
Nasir Reed?
luxury tax right now.
They over the
don't have
luxury
the money
tax.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can't.
I think that's no bueno.
The only teams we could possibly send him to is Claxton I'm talking about is the Lakers, and they made an
Atlanta.
interesting argument for Golden State. I can't see him going to
Lakers, Atlanta, and New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm with Leaf on that. Yeah.
okay, New Orleans, but yeah. But the problem is that like he
would
sucks.
like Atlanta.
Right? Like the Pelicans need a good
Atlanta, he would be fine. He's playing with Trae Young.
But what do the Hawks have that we want,
though? They're going to trade Trae
That's the
Young this
thing.
offseason, it looks like.
And if he went to Atlanta, he's got the designing clothes thing, so that would work well for him.
Yeah, it would work well for him. It wouldn't work well for Atlanta. I
don't know. I'm not going to get onto that. But look. All I'm gonna say is,
didn't you just say you would trade him just for some contracts? So if we could get some expiring contracts for him or some,
I would trade Clax to New Orleans. I would trade Clax to New Orleans, get a third team involved, and try to get Zion.
That's something to think about.
A lot. Yeah.
I think Zion costs more than that. Yeah.
No, he does, but now
Zion really don't cost that much at all. Like a lot of people.
To me, I think he does.
He's $40 million.
I'm telling you, he don't, bro. Like that's not a guaranteed contract. Those are incentives. Like Zion has to live up to.
It's not that. It's not. It's not the money. It's the fact that they're giving away an attraction. So if they're giving away an attraction, they're gonna want to see something that could help their team.
New Orleans ain't gonna want to see that, bro. They're farmers. They're a farmers market franchise. You can rob them.
I've been all over getting Zion for months now, right? They put him on. They said he was open to trading him at the deadline. You know how many phone calls they got on him? 0. Right? Like I don't think the demand for Zion because of his history is going to be much. Right? Like,
good.
There was zero. They got 0 phone calls about him when they put him on. You know what I'm saying? And he's played really well since then. But like you can't outlive your past in a sense, right? Like he's done what he's done. He sat out a season. He sat out playing games. He gets hurt all the time. He's fat, lazy. We don't need to go over it, right? We know what it is.
I would treat him like our KD situation, like where I'm not even going to play you till you lose the right amount of weight. I'm not even, so use this whole year to get it together or whatever, or half a year to get it together. And, because I don't want the stop and starts. It's like, no, we're not doing that. This is year.
The only thing I could tell you about all of that is that condition-wise, he's been in a better condition this year. They just haven't played him on back-to-backs. They played him sort of like how they playing Kawhi. It's the organization, really. It's really the organization, bro, because you got to look at the start that they had. They wasn't really looking. He's already had a weight clause in his contract already, and then with the start that they had and all the injuries that they had, they lost Ingram, they lost Murray, they lost CJ, and they started losing games at the same time. Zion was still fairly healthy. They just sat him out. They just sat him out. That's all that really was. So like, I don't want anybody to get the illusion, but like he just probably need to change the scenery. That's all it is, bro.
And that's why he's been playing well. And I'll give this about Zion in the last few weeks since he's come back. He's been running the offense a lot more. The 2 triple doubles. You've seen him that he does want to get out of this so badly that he's now starting to play to his level. I told you this. He's now 15th, I think, in percentage. If this guy was just get out of his own head and be healthy, he could be one of the most dominant players in the league. But if we take a gamble on him, LBL, we're not giving more than 2 picks in Claxton. If I have to give anything more, I'm putting protections on those picks. I'm not giving unprotected picks like we did for Harden and somebody else because this guy's not a guaranteed he's going to play great with us. Like we have to be careful too.
Picks. That's cool. I mean, but we probably get a third. If anything, we probably get a third team involved just to make
LBL. What do you think Zion's worth right now? I think 2 picks and Clax is more than fair on our part.
I think you're right. I think 2 picks and Clax is about it.
Saying he needs to get out of his head. It's like either you're healthy or you're not. You know what I'm saying? So he needs to get healthy, stay healthy. So that's the thing.
I agree.
So and that's the thing. It's like it's not. I don't think he's using this to try to get out of New Orleans or whatever.
I think he is.
No, I think now he wants to get out of New Orleans. That's why he's playing, because he wants to showcase himself, to make himself available for to show people, hey, I can still play. But now other teams are the reason Gary said 0 teams. They questioning his effort. Like, does he really want to play basketball? Is he satisfied with the contract that he has and just being known as Zion, because I'm telling you, I want him if he's healthy and he is box office, and if anything, we could still get our pick, get Zion, and still tank to get one of these top premier guys, which Gary won't like. But I'm like, hey, maybe Zion will only play home games. Who knows, But we gotta try to get our team. We're still building a team, so we can't afford
Well,
for
As
Zion
far
to
as
be up
far
and
as
get
trades
this.
go, listen,
Yeah,
this is my proposition. As far as trades go, if we trying to get that set star, the only two teams we need to be talking to is New Orleans and Memphis.
Memphis. You talk about John Morant?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, listen. I was high on John Morant if it made sense, but looking at the way his injury situation is now coming back, I'm getting Derrick Rose vibes, man. That's not a good thing. Listen, he is a spectacular player with his agility, with what he can do, but he's got to be healthy. And now he's got the shoulder surgery. He's still feeling the hamstring. Like I'm just getting Derrick Rose vibes,
that's
man. I
that's
don't
an
want us to invest
insult.
in
That's
somebody
an
that's going to
insult to
crash and
Derrick
burn
Rose.
like that.
John, I want to move on to this last topic. I know
That's
that
an
you
insult
wanted to
to
spend
Derrick
Right.
Rose.
some time on this.
Right.
Joe Tsai's comments here. I know you had some thoughts on this. I'll let you guys go around the panel if you want. And then I got to wrap this up. But Joe Tsai speaks about the Brooklyn Nets. No, I still don't feel like I'm an NFL owner who has a 3% stake in the Dolphins. I've got to take care of the Brooklyn Nets first, which means you need to win first in the sport that you're already involved in. So you got to take care of business here. Joe Tsai. John, your thoughts on this?
Wait, Joe Desai wants to win with Brooklyn. Well, guys, it's been a great show. Gary, Leaf, LBL, John, see you guys on the flip side. Listen, he waits 5 months, right? 5 months to finally say something, and the first words out of his mouth have to deal with football. Joe Desai, listen, I understand owners get involved with investments. He's got Alibaba, which is AI technology. He owns 3% of Miami Dolphins. But your main priority is Brooklyn Nets. And for him to say, I want Brooklyn to win first, when he says like stuff like that, it means he wants to eventually own a team. This is my problem with our front office. Do they care about this organization, or do they care about making money doing all these side deals and jobs and stuff like that? At the end of the day, Joe Tsai, your first involvement should be Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Brooklyn. I know you did well with Liberty. Your wife did an amazing job, but your focus is the Brooklyn Nets and how to build a actual structure and sustainability. And so far this season, you and Sean have let Coach Jordy take the helm, the reins. So have you, and that's what's led to the mixed results. My problem with this organization is, are they committed to actually building a championship, or they want to get stars to hope to carry them to the promised land? Because that didn't work. My problem with Sean and Joe is their communication style the last 8 years has been all over the place. The fact you got 3 great superstars in the span of 12 months who all hate your guts and want out, and then you made the move to get a role player who didn't want to be on your damn team, and you paid his buddy $90 million. This organization needs to figure out how to communicate effectively to the talent, whether that's prospects or stars. Because if they don't want to be here, that has to go towards the front office not doing a good enough job to make sure that they want to be here, and that needs to change. So I don't want to hear football out of Joe Tsai's mouth. I want to hear how we're going to build an actual team from start to finish in a regular season.
All right.
LBL, Leaf, you guys want to get in on this?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. So when he
Yeah. I'm about ready to go
when
too.
John said that, no, his first priority is Alibaba. Let's not lie.
Oh my
Because
God!
it's not sports. Sports is the tax write-off. So when you're looking at what he's saying about this, also I think part of the problem with what Sai is doing is he that Nets fans really we should have been rooting for the Liberty to lose, because I think that gave him this carte blanche where it gave him some breathing room. Like, well, he did win with the Liberty, even though for me it's like
His
I don't
wife
care.
did that.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true, but I'm saying I don't care. I don't really care about
Yeah, I
the
don't care either.
WNBA, but I'm an NBA person, not really
The
a
only reason
WNBA.
why I cared is because it happened in Barclays.
But see, that's what I'm trying to say. That gave him some breathing room. Like, can you imagine if they would have went out in the first or second round or whatever, right? Then he would be getting the heat that he deserves as an owner. That's what I'm trying to say. He's gotten a little bit of he's gotten away with stuff because of, oh well, we won. It was nice. Won't it be nice to have the Barclays? Won't it be nice to have a championship parade for the Nets as well? And, it's like he's gotten away with that stuff, and it's like he shouldn't. But I'm saying, but at the end of the day, it's
I
like
don't know if that was because of the Liberty, but I mean, I guess if you want to say that,
I think it is. I think it is. But also I think in terms of what he wants to do, like I don't think that I mean to me, I gotta tell you, I trusted Prokhorov more than him. I mean, I felt like the
that's
vibe was
nasty.
different with
That's
him.
Wow.
nasty.
I feel
That's
yeah.
nasty.
I,
That's
I
that's that's
feel I feel
disgusting.
the vibe was different.
That's disgusting.
I feel the vibe was different, and now I feel like now this could be Yari. This could be because when they first came along and they tried to imitate the guy who started the Brooklyn Brigade, that fan base, when they tried to imitate that with the BK block under Prokhorov, our first couple of seasons, everything was free. They said we want to create an environment for you where you guys are the fans. You come, you all we have to promise is we come to all the games, and they'll handle the rest. And we bring the energy. But then once this guy
Prokhorov
came
hired
in,
Billy King, bro. I'm out, bro.
no,
You
I'm
get in on
saying
this. Leaf,
no.
let me hear from you. You get in on this.
But
I want to
once
hear from
this
you.
guy came in, then all of a sudden we have to pay. Then we
So two things. I'll let you cook on this, Leaf, and then we're gonna close out the show because I gotta run.
Yeah,
So is
yeah,
Billy King
you
really,
ever feel
really?
like
Is Billy
somebody?
King worse than Sean Marks? And then your thoughts on what Josiah said. Is King really worse than Marks?
Billy King has ruined more than one said franchise, so he's definitely worse than Sean Marks, bro. I don't know if y'all know what he did
he's worse.
previously,
Yeah,
before the Nets shit, but there's a reason why he doesn't have a job in the NBA today, bro. So yeah, he's definitely worse than Sean Marks. But Sean Marks is definitely towing that line. Now, as far as Joseph goes, bro, you ever feel like there's somebody that's before they talk, it's some bullshit that's gonna come out of their face? You ever feel
definitely.
like that? You ever feel like that? You feel like a lie's coming before they even say anything.
Every time my mayor opens his mouth, yes, go ahead.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm feeling like. I don't even want to continue going on over and over with this guy, man. Like, listen, the fact that the NBA is willing to give us a number one pick with these two bozos in our front office, bro, just says it either says that the NBA, somebody in the NBA front office is very, very stupid, or they believe in something that's in some type of change that's going to happen within our organization sooner than later, bro. But way we'll know is if the shit pops up on our phones and pops up on the ESPN app. Shut this shit down. I don't even want to talk no more.
I just can't believe the first thing out of his mouth is football. I'm not watching football. I'm watching the Brooklyn Nets. Like, dude, I understand he wants to make a lot of money and have his hand in all these different cookie jars. But if Brooklyn isn't progressing and you're making money off our backs to show up to games where the talent is not even there for longer than 2 or 3 years, what are we doing as Brooklyn fans? Like, Joe and Sean Marks need to have a come together moment and realize, hey, listen, it's fine we're making money, but we got to reward
But
the fans' faith in us, and they're
but
not
you know
doing that
what,
right
John?
now.
But you know what,
That's what's
John?
got to
That's the
change.
thing. But that's the thing. After the Liberty won, right? And this is the other part of what I was saying. After the Liberty won, and then we started, okay under Jordy, like 8 and 10 or whatever. I'm saying our attendance, like we broke the attendance record in a year where we've only won 23 games or something like that. So what I'm saying is, what's his incentive to get better if he already is making money off of us? If this is the best season we've had in Brooklyn attendance wise, what's the incentive for him to make more money?
You want to
What's
have a
his
competitive product on the court. At the end of the day, it's what's on the court, not what's on the sidelines. And a lot of these people are visitors. Like,
no?
that's the
It's
great thing
what
about Brooklyn.
no,
We have
it's what's in his
best
cash
teams,
register. That's
fans
what
come visit us too. So we make extra
John's
money on the
right.
side
Like
too.
Dylan talked about this. Like 60% of net tickets are sold at the door. Like, I guess he doesn't care, right? The Nets have less than 1,000 season ticket holders. Like, all of this is embarrassing. Like, it's embarrassing.
It is.
When they had the big three, they had the least amount of season ticket holders in the NBA. So I don't know what you have to do to build interest in this team, right? But like people, I was at the net game early this year, and they're playing the Pacers, and there's a couple sitting next to me from England, and I asked them why why they're here. They said, "Oh, we're on our honeymoon in New York City, and this was a lot cheaper than the Knicks." I'm at the game. Half the people at the game are watching the Knicks game on their phone. I don't know what we got to do, but John's right. Yes, the attendance is okay, but they're not net fans, right? And the way to build is to have people like your product, not just pop in once because they had nothing else to do that night. You know what I'm saying? It's not net fans.
Definitely. I know what you mean because I've been in too many games where it's at best 50-50. But I'm also saying, Gary, is part of the point is that they need to, the best way to combat that is to get building blocks, young building blocks, and then let us grow as a fan base with them growing as players. But I'm saying because now I know some like Breezy will say, see, that's why we should keep Cam. And I'm like, he's not a building block. That's my issue. So if you want to get Cooper, you want to get Ace, you want to get Dylan, that's a building block. Then next year, get a Peterson or the Banston. That's a building block. Like I can take winning 30 games next year or 40 the following year if we have those type of exciting players on there, or even like what you said, like if Zion is on there, but we have, I'd much rather see Zion in a dunking contest as a net than seeing Cam Johnson shooting threes.
That's a good one. I'll take Zion in an eating contest over Cam Johnson shooting threes.
I gotta close this out. Thanks to Leaf. Thanks to LBL. Thanks for jumping on. John, Dylan. When's our next game? Tomorrow?
Yeah, next game's tomorrow. So Sunday we could try to get something together.
We'll go live Sunday.
Hey,
you saw Boogie is back, right? They won last night.
I did. I saw Boogie. Yeah, I saw Boogie play a little bit. Yeah.
He's getting ready to play against one of my favorite college guys, Kadari Richmond from St. John's.
They got my They got my boy Zuby, who's from Garland, Texas. That's my boy.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
St. John's. Look, here's a bold prediction. And I'll let you guys respond. St. John's and Texas A&M are both going to be in the Final Four. They both bludgeon you on the boards. They both play defense, and that travels. Like if you go cold and you can't make any shots, both those teams are going to hold you to 50 points, and they're going to keep shooting at the rim until it goes in. So I got A&M and St. John's in the Final Four.
Okay,
I have a prediction.
Yeah, so we shall see. But you know what's funny? They lost the boards last night.
St. John's did or A&M did?
No, St. John's did.
Did they really? It looked like in the second half. They shut them down to like 0 points. Did they really?
I think they hit like 12 threes.
Here's an update. Ballard is currently defeating Mississippi right now, up 63-57. That's Edgecombe's on Ballard right now, and they're in the second with 5:29 to go. So that's interesting if they hold on there.
All right, I gotta go, guys. I gotta wrap this up.
All right, great show, Roy. Great show.
March 21st or tomorrow?
Well, Sunday. We'll be on Sunday. Sunday.
All right. So long, guys.
Y'all be good. March 21st, 2025 from Texas to the world. Thank you, and God bless.
Peace.